Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is where I'm going to be doing practices of everything that I think about. But literally I'm not thinking about anything right now because I woke up like 3 hours ago, hangover as fuck, and I don't want to do anything at all. My head was hurting, but I took a painkiller, drank a lot of caffeine, had a lot of things to do, and I don't know what to think about. So I'm just not gonna even use my notepad here. I'm just gonna hang around and let you guys know what I'm thinking about. I've been thinking about a lot of stuff lately, as everybody else does. That's nothing special. I don't know how many people can think about stuff, and that brings up the question of how much a person can think and how many people can think in general, because I'm pretty sure not a lot of people think about stuff. If people thought about stuff, I don't think we would be living in this world, because I don't know, this design, or like the way things are going, doesn't feel like people have been thinking about stuff, and that just kind of saddens me, but yeah, as always, people are retarded, so I am. I don't know what to say. Like, this really gets hard when you just like alone by yourself. There's nothing going in, and there shouldn't be nothing going out. The only data is just me feeding myself data, and like going off your own data is so hard when you think about it. But people actually do it a lot. I think so. I don't know. Being sure of anything, as I said, is so fucking obnoxious to me. So how can you even know that like your next step is gonna work? You can just like take another step. Just, I don't know, thinking 10 steps ahead, or like thinking about the probabilities of anything happening at all, just requires you to have data about that stuff. And I don't think we have enough data to be just predicting anything. When it, like, even in chess, like, there's a million outcomes, and you always think about stuff, but like, you're probably wrong, because if you're thinking about a million possible outcomes, just one of them's going to be true. So you're 1 in a million% right, and that shit's scary. And in this life where everything can happen, you literally don't have anything to be predicting, because you're not a computer that analyzes data. Because kind of you are, but like, we don't have enough data, and we don't have the processing power of like just examining the data and just predicting possible outcomes, because we don't see as much as we like to think we see. The best thing about ignorance is just you don't know how ignorant you are. The only thing you can be aware of is like just knowing that you don't know enough to talk about. And not a paradox, but it's just a fucking snake eating itself, actually. Just, you have to learn and learn and learn, and then just process the data and just use it on your life. But whenever you use some data on your life, and whenever you learn stuff, you should be realizing that you don't know anything at all, because we're like, imperfect isn't the right choice of word, but like, just thinking you are able to be doing anything at all, it's just obnoxious to me. Because whenever I try to do stuff, it just like, it feels like a gamble. I don't think I am sure of anything at all, because the best example is relationships. Whenever you talk to a person, you don't know that person absolutely, and if you don't know a person absolutely, that just means that as every second that you spend on getting to know that person, just shapes your opinion about them, because it's just opinions. You can't have anything else. It's just opinions based. Kill yourself. Kill myself. Fuck. I'm thinking about like acting like I have Tourette's to just call people ugly or stupid and some shit. Like, I was thinking about this like a second before. I'm just gonna act like I have Tourette's and like I have tics, so I can just hit people and call them slurs whenever I feel like. That just seems a lot of fun. And who the fuck is gonna say that you don't have Tourette's? How are they gonna disprove that? I'm just gonna act like it 24/7. That's what I do all the time. Like, saying that feels cringy. Just you act like stuff, because when you look at it from like the other person's perspective, like, you can't be sincere about anything. Like, I don't think sincerity exists. Sincerity exists to a degree where you just like can be awful as possible, because you always try to not hurt people whenever you're saying stuff. There's a lot of like conflicts that you always resolve, because you can just say to people that like I think this is why lying matters in like society, because like whenever you're talking about stuff in general, you have to lie and lie and lie, because you can't just say you look freaking horrible right now. Freaking what? I'm killing myself. We just got a new cat. Like, this is my 4th one now. I have 4 cats. I don't know what I'm gonna name it though. Well, I'm not letting anyone name it, because like I'm really good at naming my cats. I have like 4 right now, as I said so. And like one of them is called Gurgur because he was gurring a lot. And the other is Apollo. I don't like that name at all. Shitty name. I didn't name it myself, so I can just call it anything. But Apollo doesn't seem like an Apollo. He's just like retarded. Like, he's scared of everything. But Perry, the 3rd one, I named it, and Perry names suits her really well. She's kind of literally the devil. So when you're talking about cats, like, it feels like calling something it feels just so like rude, and I literally don't care about being rude any time of any day. So like, it's weird that I care about this. We all have our retardedness in ourselves, hidden or not. So Perry suits her really well because she looks like a fairy, and Perry means fairy in Turkish. But I don't know what I'm gonna name this though. My mom said just let's wait until he. Why the fuck am I caring this much about the cat's pronouns? Fuck it, he. He does something that just like is a certain quality, so we can name it after that. And that's actually like a Turkish practice that like is so fucking old, because you know, you used to not name your child until they do something important. You would name someone after they did something. Like, that sounds cringy, you know. But like, when you think about it, there's a lot of things that just determines who you are. I think your name or your given name is a lot more important than people give a shit about. It doesn't really matter, because like nobody uses their like legal name anymore, and they shouldn't. Like, we live in like a shitty world where like old people raise us, and like old people usually give shitty names because they're old and they're demented. Not mine though. I like my legal name. I don't care about being dead named, and that name is. I'm not gonna go into that, but I like the name Ahmed. Ahmed means the one who deserves praise, and I think that identifies with me a lot, because I'm a person who deserves that praise, deserves praising, per se, kill myself. Oh my god, I should have more tics. I have a lot of tics, like I play with my hair and like just do this, but I think I need cooler ones. I think I should like adapt some Tourette syndromes in my like genes. I think I can pull that off. I should be able to just say kill myself whenever I think about it, because I think it just like Tourette's is such a weird thing, because you usually say stuff you know you shouldn't be saying, because I don't know how that works, but I'm pretty sure it comes from just like having so many recurring thoughts, like repetitive obsessive thoughts, that your brain just can't get it out. It's more of a regulatory disease, in my opinion. And I have no education, and I've never read anything about it before. But like nobody knows where Tourette's came from. I read about that. I I hate the fact that people call me or perceive me as pretty, because whenever I'm perceived as pretty, it just seems to me like it just devalues everything else. Because as I said, just like having any quality at all is dropped my lighter. Having any quality at all, I don't know. Just it makes me mad. Just, I don't know why though. There's a lot of things that makes me mad. There are a lot of things that makes me mad, because whenever I'm perceived as something, it just puts me in a cycle of being that thing and proving that I am that thing. When you're identifying yourself with a name, or just I don't know, a word, just like somebody calls me pretty, and I take that into consideration of who I am, because you can't be a thing in a vacuum. Your value always depends on the relativity of everything else. So when somebody calls me pretty, it's just comparatively pretty, because it's a subjective matter, and when you're talking about subjective things, as I said, just becomes a relative thing. So if I'm pretty and that's a value of mine, how do I perceive that when I'm not just comparing myself to anything at all? Can you give something value without comparing it to anything else? Because it's such a shitty concept to talk about, because like I love the phrase comparison kills joy, and I agree with it completely. But if we are in no way able to be just like not comparing anything, we have to compare everything so we can give them value. And if you're comparing everything, you're just killing our joy. And I don't think there's anything just like there's anything joyful about living when you're thinking about living. Killing yourself seems like a concept I talk about a lot. Just feels weird, because it's where like bodily autonomy just like stops being the subject, because whenever you're talking about abortion, you're talking about the one who has the womb has the autonomy of their own body. And why does consciousness matter this much about this subject? Whenever you're talking about abortion, it just feels like, yeah, consciousness matters, but why? Having consciousness is. I have never thought it was a blessing, but it does matter when you talk about this stuff. You always think about, oh, which trimester do they get their like consciousness. But consciousness doesn't explicitly have to be good. Like doing bad stuff usually comes from a conscience. Like everything bad comes from a conscience. When you're talking about your intentions, if you don't have a conscious mind, you can't do bad stuff. A person who lacks consciousness can't do bad stuff, because they cannot like be perceived as good or bad. They're just retarded. So if we're valuing consciousness in the subject of like just killing a person, why? Because as I've said, an unconscious thing cannot do anything bad, and everything bad comes from a conscious mind. So consciousness gives birth to bad stuff. I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know where I'm going with anything at all. This is just babbling. I'm just gonna babble for an hour. I have 45 minutes left. This is just me thinking about stuff. It's sort of like meditating when you think about it. I'm just letting my thoughts drift off, and I'm not fighting with anything at all. Fighting seems like a weird concept, like physically fighting. Just hitting someone will make your hand hurt. Will make them hurt more, but why do you care? Like, hitting someone? It just seems like retarded as a concept, because whenever you look at someone, you're just like looking at them and just like perceiving them and thinking about them, giving value to the pain you give them as much as you. It's weird, because whenever if I'm gonna hit someone, I'm doing it with the purpose of hurting them, but I'm hurting myself in the process as well. But if the hurting I give to the other person has less value for them to just me hurting myself has for me, it's redundant. I like that word. Yeah. I like this song a lot. It's Schizophrenic Playboy by like the Cranberries. I'm saying like too much. I shouldn't be saying like. It's a filler word. I hate using filler words. I should be working on that. She meticulously crass her hair. Look at where I was. I'm sweating too much. It's hot. I don't like hot weather as much as any other person, I think. But I don't hate it as much as I hate cold weather. Because, I don't know, like, cold feels dangerous. Hot just feels disturbing. And I'm fine with being disturbed and not dying of hypothermia. People dying of just like heat waves just seems so fucking cringy to me. Just dying of hot weather, like, oh my god, that's such a white person thing to do. I've never met like a fucking ethnic person die of a heat wave. Prophet Muhammad like actually lived in the desert. He was a prophet. Like he didn't die of a heat wave. No Arab is dying in a heat wave. No real person is dying in a heat wave. I've never met a person who died in a heat wave. Survivorship bias joke. Glad you caught that one. And false equivalence fallacy. I like using fallacies when I'm talking about stuff, because people don't actually notice them when you're talking about it, and it just makes the whole wordplay game a little bit more enjoyable, because when I'm talking, I'm usually not saying anything and just leading them in a way that they know they're wrong. Because I don't think I'm right. I'm just sure that you're not right either, because I'm better than you. Such an asshole thing to say, but I love saying assholey things, because It's more enjoyable this way. When I first started watching Community, it was such a pleasant experience to have. It was just like seeing my like seeing what I thought of myself in a screen, because every character in Community just kind of reflects me in a way. And especially like whenever you're like consuming any type of media, you're just seeing reflections of yourself, or whenever you're doing anything at all, because as I said, everything is comparatively valuable. So whenever I'm watching that media, and especially me, because I know more about myself than I know about other people, when I'm consuming media, I like seeing parts of myself in characters. And when I don't relate to any characters, why would I watch that? So the reason I like Community is just like the absurd dialogue of just like they're talking about something so absurd and they're just doing it naturally feels comforting to me, because whenever you're just like doing anything at all, just way more absurd than you give it credit for, because we're talking about children getting bombed, people getting murdered, and like a person dying is the most significant thing on earth, whether you think about it this way or not, because there's a binary in that, just two ways, living and not living, and everything significant comes with living. You can't do anything while dead, so everything you are able to do comes from living. And if you're not doing anything, that's horrifying. It's just the most significant thing a person can ever do. Stop living. Horrifying concept in general. I think that's one of the only concepts I have difficulty understanding. I don't know anyone who can process the loss of a loved one, because I don't think you should be able to process that. As I said, everything that has value comes from you or another person living, because life is value. And when someone dies, you can't wrap your head around it, because that's the only thing you will never experience. You can experience everything at all. Like you just can't experience that. Like that is, well, why am I pronouncing that so wrong? That. Look like that. How the fuck do you pronounce that? I'm looking for the pronunciation. Death. Fuck English. I'm gonna use a word in German for that. That in death. That in German. Are you fucking dead, Todd? Kill yourself. German people are so fucking retarded, it's insane. I would never speak that language. Oh my, people should kill themselves. I'm talking about just people killing themselves or people dying. It's horrifying. I think that is a necessary step to take. Not humankind, but my comfort to the next level. Because I don't hate. That's a principle of mine, that I never hate people. But I'm not saying this with hate. I'm saying this with love. I think some people dying at some point of their lives as early as possible is just better, because I don't want to remember that people as being retarded or really stupid. So whenever you're living something as perfect as possible, I think like you should kill yourself at the top, because like Ne haber anneciğim? İyi, video çekiyorum yine. Ne? Ya durdurmadım, ne olacak? Öyle bir saatlik şey yapıyor. Bana da bassana kahve. As I was saying, people should kill themselves when it doesn't get better. When you're at, like, when you're fucked up and you're never gonna get better than this, kill yourself. Just absolve yourself from all the pain and suffering that you're gonna get. But when you're at the top at the same time, it doesn't get better than that. And if it's not gonna get better, you're not gonna feel better about it. I don't know if I can publish this. It doesn't matter. It just matters that it's in somewhere. Whenever I'm looking at something, I can talk about drugs. It's just a lame fucking world we live in. I'm not gonna complete this video to an hour because, like, I don't feel like doing it, and I don't like forcing myself into anything. Forcing someone into something is just a man behavior. And as a person who respects bodily autonomy, I'm not forcing myself into doing anything because I respect myself. You should do. Don't watch this video. Just don't. Doesn't mean anything, does it? It does. It means everything, actually, because everything is less valuable than anything. Because I said so. I don't have to explain myself to you. You're not even a real person. You're just a camera looking at me. You're not even seeing me. You can't even do anything. I can actually say anything that pisses you off, and you're not gonna be able to do anything about it because you're not seeing me. You're a fucking loser. Kill yourself. Kill yourself. I'm so fucking bored and I'm just babbling. I love babbling. I think I'm gonna do this every day because just like when I'm doing this stuff by myself, I'm not bothering anyone, and just not bothering anyone gives me so much value about myself because every second that I'm not bothering anyone, I'm getting more positive outcomes in my life because I'm simply not doing anything negative. Simply doing not anything negative means that you're doing something positive because there's no such a thing as a zero value or a negative value when you think about it. There's nothing in this world that has negative value. I don't know how antimatter works. I'm pretty sure it doesn't work that way. When you look at like anything at all that is physical, which is everything is physical, kill yourself if you think there's some things that aren't physical. Everything is physical. You can kill yourself if you disagree. I don't think there's anything ridiculous about like just telling people to off themselves because you jerk off. And I don't even want to make this joke. It just seems redundant. Kendinle konuşmak ne kadar garip bir şey ya. Ha. I might be retarded, but like at least I'm cute. Just think about that for a while. You ugly piece of shit, fat fuck, retard.